All right, hello everybody. Check, check, check. This is Michael. Once again, with a art video. I'm going into the Mains'l account here, and I noticed last video that there was an interesting audio thing, so I want to make sure that that's not quite happening again. I think if I do, I wish there was a way to test it beforehand, so I didn't have to start all my videos uh, with this. But hey, here we are. All I wanted to do was do settings, audio, channels. Oh, whatever. I think you could probably hear me. It looks like you can. Anyways, today we're going to be drawing cars. And I have a picture of my car up here. I also have a picture of my neighbor's car that is kind of a cool van. Changing the title. Drawing cars. So, if you're watching a recording of this, you can skip forward a few seconds to where I actually start drawing. But if you're watching me live, stick around for a second. Drawing cars with Michael, and then I just need to change the picture to a picture of a car, and not Duke Ellington. Picture of my car. Safe. Whatever. I'll do the picture later. It's funny that there's a picture of Duke Ellington, though. I wonder if there's a. There we go. Safe. Alright, so here I am. I got my iPad handy, and I got my camera. Here's my iPad. And I got a picture of my car. I'm gonna make it the same exact size as the, or similar size rather, as the white canvas that I'll be drawing on. Drawing cars. Cool. So, drawing cars, just like anything. Last week, it was 2 days ago. What is time? 2 days ago, we did trees, and we started with the big shapes, like always, and we started by squinting our eyes and seeing light and dark. I'll turn this into mono. Yeah. Maybe that makes the sound better. I don't know. Tell me if you can hear me. Yeah, so we're going to apply those same things to the car. We're going to squint our eyes to see the biggest shapes of light and dark. And we're going to go from there. So the first shape I see, that's the biggest shape, maybe, on our car. If I squint my eyes at light and dark, I see kind of a pattern of, there's like the dark windows, there's the dark shadow, there's the grill in front of the car, and even the headlights and the wheels. And that's kind of all the dark areas of the car. And then the light areas would be the whole silver part of the car and the rims. So just keeping that in mind, I'm going to pick one of the two. I could try to draw the silver. I could try to draw the black first. But I don't want to do something like this where I'm like, okay, a car has two wheels, and then there's the front, and then it kind of goes up, and then there's a windshield and a door. Okay, I drew my car. Because, are you seeing this? Why aren't you seeing this? What? Hold on. It doesn't seem like the screen is working here. Michael's iPad. Is it plugged in? Sorry. I don't know what the deal is. File, new movie recording. Hi, I don't want two of me. Ah, there we go. Alright. I don't know what happened there. But anyways, yes, we don't want to draw something like this. Can I move that? There we go. I don't want to draw something like this where it's like I draw what I think a car looks like. Because if we look at my picture of the car, the angle I took it at, there's many differences. First of all, it's faced the other way, but we also have a wheel kind of down here and another smaller wheel up here. What is going on with this film recording? I'm sorry, 1 second. Okay, well, maybe that sounds a little better. I don't know why my video recording is not working though. It is plugged in. Hi. I'd never had this problem before. It's frustrating. Well, really, if you're watching this after the fact, which most people will be, because I don't think anybody's watching after all this fumbling, you can definitely skip forward. And I'll try to trim this off of the video too. Well, there's my picture. Let's see how long this lasts. Okay. So, moving on. All right. Did I pause it or something? I don't know. Anyways, I draw this line and it's not drawing. Why is that? I'm going to go offline for a minute. All right, we're back. I've got lines. Still working. Okay. So, let's hope this works. All right, I'm going to go ahead and draw this car now. So, I'm going to start with the windshield because that seems like the easiest shape for me to kind of wrap my mind around. There's a lot of, from this angle, it's kind of a complex thing going on. So, I'm going to draw the windshield shape, which, well, I want to note where it is on the picture. It's kind of towards the top and towards the middle. So that's where I'll be, towards the top, towards the middle. Here's the top's kind of, I'm looking at the angle of the top, if this is the picture frame, or the edges of my picture. I'm looking at this line here, this horizontal top of the frame, and then that's how I'm kind of measuring that line, that of the top of the window, is by kind of looking at comparing the top of the frame to where that line is, not only for position but also for angle. So it seems like it goes downward, but not too downward. I might even have exaggerated that a little bit. So let's do like that. Yeah, something like that. And now it comes out down on this side, a little bit down this way. And I apologize for that beginning. Luckily, I can kind of trim things up, I think, after I record. There we go. Going down. And then I'm going to come back this way. Now, noticing the bottom part of the windshield, does it angle more or less or the same than the top? So sometimes I'll hold my pencil up like this and kind of close one eye and measure the angle of one and then move it to the other. And it looks like it's about the same, but maybe a little hair shallower of an angle. So maybe like that. Okay, and then this one comes down This is definitely a steeper angle than the other side. Okay, so that's my windshield. Um, you can see there's a patch of grass you can see through my car. So I'm going to kind of outline that just to give it, these kind of little things give it depth. It looks like my, what do you call that? Sun blocker mirror is blocking a little bit of it. There's also the line of my dashboard and then where the steering wheel is. And here's the steering wheel. All right. I think that's about all the detail I can put into that for now. All right. And then I'm going to move to the other windows next to it. So there's, looking at this, I think this might be a little bit steeper. Okay. And then I'm going to parallel here. And it looks like this line actually does continue thin to the left of the mirror. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. And what's the shape of this? Maybe like goes up a little bit and then down, something like that. Now I want to be sensitive here to what the shape actually is in the picture and not how big I think this window is, because it's going to be drawn smaller than you know the window's much bigger than this, but since of the angle, we're really making everything foreshortened. I'll write that foreshortened. And that's just when something's coming towards you or away from you, it stretches or compresses. The shape is smaller than you would think because of something called foreshortening. Like if I was going to draw Spider-Man punching towards the viewer right at you. Say, look at my picture here. You don't even see my arm. You see maybe this much. You would draw a line on this side that's like that long. But, in actuality, my arm's much longer. But the line you would draw is actually very short because it's coming at you. And the same thing with a car. Okay, so this window split somewhere like that. And then I see the reflection of the sky. It kind of makes this shape. Again, these little kind of details, sometimes I do them after, at the end, and sometimes I just do them as I'm going because I don't want to forget them. Usually I do them at the end. All right, then here's the back of the car. Doesn't come off of the window very far. And then I'm just going to go ahead and do the top of the car, which starts at this side and then just barely shows the top of the car and then stretches down around this back. There. Cool. I'm liking that so far. Okay, I think now I can either do this hood or I could do the kind of side front of the car. That made it look like a boat, doesn't it? Or I could do the wheel and maybe that seems like a good idea to me because then I could use that as a kind of gauge for where the other lines are. So this is tricky because a wheel, is circular. But when you draw a circle or something like a wheel from an angle, it becomes an ellipse. So more like that or like that or like even like, that. Those could all be circles. This could be a piece of bologna being thrown through the air and slapped on the ground. Anyways, so we see them all as circles, but in actuality, they're hardly circles at all, these wheels. So I'm going to eyeball about where the top of that opening for the wheel is. Something like that. And then the wheel, I can see, is at kind of a diagonal right angle. It's not a straight up oval. And it's definitely not curving to the left. It's curving to the right. ever so slightly, maybe even a little less than that. Another way I can do it, which I can do right here, is looking at the really dark black above the wheel. I can draw that shape instead. Something I like about drawing things is it's almost like a puzzle. Like what's the next thing I can draw that I won't mess up too bad? And then I draw that, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm one step closer. And then what's the next thing I can draw that seems like the easiest thing to knock out? Usually, if you really think of it, if you really look at what you're working on, and really sit and think for a second, you can find something that isn't too hard to draw on it, and just work on that part of it. All right, now I'm going to draw where the rim is, which kind of comes a little bit further from the top, a little closer to the sides, a little further from the bottom. Something like that. Hey, that's not too bad. Okay, back tire. So, looks like the opening of the tire hole. I don't know anything about cars, but it extends. The black part is just to the right of this edge of the window here. Oops. Don't mind erase there. So there's the corner of my window. So I want to go down from there and maybe to like here, and then boom, 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 boom. Something like that. You know what? I think there's a setting in here. Let me see real quick. Preferences. Maybe not. I thought maybe there was a. I'll look into it so you can see where I'm pointing without drawing. But it doesn't seem to be an easy thing. I thought it was right there. Anyways, so this back wheel is going to be. Looks like it's a little bit more straight up than this one was. It's but still at an angle, much smaller. And actually, I'm not seeing. I can see a lot more of the underside of the wheel. So if here's the wheel, it's like the underside. So I'm actually going to draw that shape. That seems like the easiest one. So if this bottom of the car is coming through, and then it hits to about here, and then there's this under shape. This is what I'm talking about right here. Boom. And then that barely has a really thin line of tire hitting the top of that, and then that comes around, something like that. Yeah. Might have exaggerated how small that was, but hey, that's okay. Let me check my. Oops. Okay, cool. Just checking my YouTube video to make sure it was going. I'm just having a weird technical day. Anyways, where were we? Okay, so looks like we got the two wheels, got the windshield. I'm going to move on to the front hood of the car, which if we follow through this line and this line, and that's kind of going to be my guiding principle, this kind of shape where it's going out from the back and forward. And I'm just going to do one that goes to there, because that's where it looks like that line ends. How about that? A little bit smoother. Now, what's nice about this iPad and digital drawing is I can do this over and over and get like the perfect line. But that's also kind of a hindrance sometimes. I actually, for students, something like a pen is better, because if you mess up, then you just got to deal with it. Or a pencil is nice because you can erase, but it's okay if it's not exact. I'm going to do, so I did that line. Now I'm going to do the other side over here. And it's kind of hard to eyeball for me how far forward it should go. So I'm just going to leave it kind of unfinished. And hopefully something else will make it easier. Just fixing this little area. wonder if I could add music to this stream. I think that might be nice. A little bit of music that won't get taken down off YouTube. Might have to be my own music. Maybe I can take my piano videos and export the music to these videos. That'd be cool. Okay. I'm gonna go draw this light on the front. And what I'm looking at actually, let me switch pens. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this area here in order to guide this line here. I'm gonna save this little bit of red here. Oops. So now I can switch between black and red easily. Okay. Yes, as I was saying, I was using that area in order to draw this line well, and now I'm gonna finish that shape. This is a cool shape. It's almost like an eye socket or something. All right, now I'm gonna draw the front grille, which comes off at a similar angle to this the bottom of my windshield. So I'm gonna just kind of use my windshield as a visual guide, and it goes like that. Again, because of foreshortening, this isn't a shape that's even or evenly like this, where it's the same size on the left and right. It's gonna be foreshortened, so it's actually bigger on the side that's towards us or down. So it's gonna be more like that. So this is shorter and this is longer. I just know that by looking at the picture. I can kind of see that this part is a little shorter, that part's longer. Now I'm gonna use that shape that I just did, which I think is pretty close, maybe a little bit wider, and I'm gonna use that to kind of guide the one I was having trouble with earlier. Sorry, it's hard to talk and draw at the same time if I'm really paying attention. I did a piece last night, and I kind of discovered for myself that I was multitasking. I mean, I often multitask when I'm painting. I'll be watching or listening to something. But I find that I've just stopped paying attention to whatever I'm listening to because I'm so focused on what I'm drawing, which is why it's hard to talk here. But I found out for myself that I did much better work when I just turned off the distractions and turned off the music or whatever YouTube video I was watching and just drew and really just thought about the drawing. So I'm going to kind of take that into practice. Not all the time, not if I'm just kind of doodling, but if I'm really working on a piece, I feel like devoting my whole attention to drawing really pays off. And I encourage you to do the same. There we go. Something like that. All right, I think we pretty much got the general look of the car. Let me do my license plate, which I've blacked out there. License plate, and now I'm gonna get in some of these details. There's like these black, I don't know what you'd call that. Part of the bumper. There's this here, which is another little light, and these little details kind of add character to the car. Otherwise, it's just an outline of a car, and it could be anything, Okay, let's see. Now, I would probably want to paint this in with not just black and white. And maybe if I have time at the end of the hour, I'll go back and paint this. But for now, Um, I'm just going to keep it black and white. Because I've been really liking color in painting, but there's something nice uh, about the look of something black and white. No, I just did something small there. There was the Toyota logo I just did on the front of the car. That just made me think. A lot of times when we're drawing little things like this, we try to get them exact. Like, okay, I know the Toyota logo looks like this, or something like that. So I want to get in there and draw just a tiny little shape that looks exactly like that. Which you're not gonna get probably right, and also you have to think that it's at an angle, and you have to take into consideration everything. What I like to do is treat these little lettering or logos or anything little small details. Try to treat it just like I would treat leaves or clouds or whatever, and just be a little bit more just draw it like it was a shape and not like it was a drawing. So, and for instance, if I was going to draw this Toyota logo, I might see it as like a shape of black, something like this. Yeah. So I'm drawing all the shapes, and it doesn't quite line up maybe to the exact shape of the Toyota logo, but it looks more like it's been painted or like it's been drawn for an artistic purpose. This one does, than this one, which is more of a doodle kind of look. I don't know. I digress. I'm gonna erase this Toyota logo. Tap tap. If I tap my pencil, it's supposed to turn to eraser. There we go. Erase, 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 erase. Erase, 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 erase. Erase on my wheels. Clean up my stuff. Okay. Back to the lab. I'm going to do that shadow. I like to include shadows in whatever I'm doing, just because everything looks different at different times of day. And also, so that's the shadow gives you a hint as to what time of day it is. If they're long shadows, what do you think the time of day is? Is it the middle of the day or the beginning of the day or the end of the day? Usually sunset time or sunrise has the longest shadows. So these shadows under here are pretty short. So I just took them just before 1 o'clock today when I started this video. Yeah. So there's hardly a shadow at all. It's just slightly at an angle because it's not the middle of summer. But yes, it gives a hint to the time, but also it places the object kind of in a space, and it makes it look more 3D. All right, moving on. I'm gonna draw this line at the top of the hood. Then quickly just shade in maybe this area up here above the steering wheel. There we go. I think that might give it a little bit more of an impression, like I'm looking into a car. And then let me not forget the back. You notice how I left a little white sliver there, and that kind of allows that black line to carry down through the black. If I would have colored that little white line there in, it might have disappeared that too much. All right. So the shape on this window comes from the sky and the trees, interestingly enough. So I kind of That's okay. Oh, I see something I missed. The triangles in the wheel. See one here. There's a little one here. And there's a little triangle here. This one, it's just not quite triangles, just little marks, something like that. Cool. And I think that is a decent sketch of this car. What do you think? Oops. Don't want to erase it. I want to... Oop, why? It's my eraser on. There we go. Just trying to do some little lines in here and make it look a little bit more like a thing that it is. Headlight. All right. Anything else I can do? I guess I could put some on the... I'm going to put my license plate as 111111. Sweet. I like it. I think that's... I'm going to call it at that. Oh, there's a shadow of the windshield too. Or the rear view mirror. Oh, also the doors come down. Let's see. There's a line for the door. Very thin line. And then it goes... And the door handle is here. Something like that. See, if I sit and look at my subject and look at my drawing back and forth, I'll usually find a couple things that I missed. Like where the windshield sprayers are. I'm going to add those little dots. And those little dots are really what makes it, starts to bring it really to life. Yeah. And I could draw things like the background now, which sometimes is nice. Like here, there's a gate up here. Me and Ginger are putting in a garden. And then the road. Here's a sidewalk. Something like that. And then the road. There's another car actually back here that I don't want to draw. Actually, you can see the other car that I took a picture of right behind. That's going to be our next car. But let me just draw in some fence posts real quick just to give us a clue as to what that is. There's a little bush maybe back here. And then there's some bush material here. Which I'm going to make dark just so that this car sticks out from it a little bit. So maybe this is like some dark grass or something. Since I'm the artist, I don't need to do exactly what I see. I can just make it kind of nice. All right, that I think that puts it in a context a little bit. So I'm going to leave it at that. Here's the oops. Let me just draw the road coming out of the back of the car like that. And then erase this little red mark. Hey. I think I'm happy with that. And, yeah. Let me move it to the center of my sheet here. There. So there's a picture of my car. Now, I would like to move on to... this next car here. How do I get rid of this one? I just do minus. Yes. So this is my neighbor's van. I thought it was cool. You could see it in the background of the last picture. And yeah, much more windows. It's at a slightly less aggressive angle. It's kind of to the side here. I just saw Robin's message. Nice set of wheels. Thank you. It's fine. It gets me around. It's a little Camry. Anyways, this is an interesting set of wheels. They've been working on it next door for for a couple of months, they soldered on that top area onto it, which is cool. So I'm gonna make a piece of art. Maybe I'll drop it off on their porch after I finish drawing it. They might appreciate that, or I'll print it out for them. So, with no further delay, let's start drawing that. So let me just get it to size on the screen so you can see it a little bit better. Don't really need those houses in the background. There we go. Something like that. Okay. So this one, there's since it's the middle of the day, these really dark shadows again. I think it might be fun to start with that shadow on the ground actually. So that will be the first thing I draw. So the first thing I draw isn't even a part of the van itself. So I'm gonna get this angle right. I think that's a little bit too steep. Does that look right? Still a little bit too steep. Maybe like, yeah, that's about right. And then it kind of curves up. Oops. Curves up and around like that. Then it comes back. And there's again, I'm drawing the shadow shape I see. Very kind of tricky method, but it works for me. It really helps me to remove the fact that I know what a car is supposed to look like, and then I try to draw that, and then it'll just be way off. So I want to just draw what I see here, and I can always make adjustments to make it more artistic, but to get a good rock solid start, I need to draw what I see. Let's see. Okay. So here's this wheel. It's again not a perfect circle, more of an oval, or it's called an ellipse. An oval, I think, would be considered a type of ellipse. And an ellipse is just like a circle that's been squished or seen from an angle. All right. See if you can spot this thing I'm drawing here. It might look kind of abstract, this shape I'm drawing, because it is a little abstract. Maybe like a little bit. Right now, I think even realistic things, since we aren't perfect, humans aren't perfect at drawing. Nobody can draw something perfect. I think everything is a little bit abstract. Every kind of art, rather, has abstract art in it, and you have to kind of think of it as shapes and lines and colors, and enjoy that part of the art as much as what you're drawing. So right now I'm enjoying that circle. And this line. Almost looks like an ice cream scoop or an upside down gun. I'm liking the shapes of it. And I don't even consider, it doesn't even look like a wheel yet. I'm not thinking of it as a wheel. I'm just enjoying that circle. So anyways, I digress again. So looking at my piece here, I might have gone a little bit too big, so I'm going to move it over and shrink it up just a hair. Don't want to run out of room. All right, now it's going to come up for this other wheel hole, which has got to be smaller than the one that's closer to us. Something like that. And then the rim pops up a little bit, but it's mostly shadow in there. Oops, I erased my rim too much. Something like that. Alright, and then the bottom of the car comes here. So I'm breaking out of shadow world for a second and going into the real world. with a vertical rear end, and then it kind of cuts back this way, and then up to that tall thing. Back to the wheel. Finish that up. And finish my big shadow shape up, which kind of comes like that. And I can't see the corner of it in this picture, but I'm sure it comes to a T somewhere on there. Clean up all this area. I love doing shadows because you can clean up your mess almost with them. All right. Hey, now look, I haven't even drawn except for the back side of the car, and it's already kind of, at least to me, I can see it almost popping out. So I'm going to move to the front end of the car. And I'm going to take, I think I'm going to make this wheel hole a little bit bigger. And then all right, and then we got this front little thing. Don't do details yet, Michael. What are you doing? Anyways, all right, going up from the front of the grill. I gotta be kind of careful about how tall I'm doing this. So I'm actually gonna use this wheel area as a measurement. Looks like there's a line about here, and then here's like where the windshield is. So that's where my height is. So you see, I kind of took the guesswork out a little bit. I mean, I'm still a little bit of a guess, but it's an educated guess because I used another area as almost a ruler. And this line's gonna come all the way back. All right. And then there's this line. I think it's just like a ridge on the side. And then there's a big black line about here. There. Cool. All right, now the top of the or the front of the windshield is kind of a shallower than the. What I mean by shallow and steep is, if here's an angle, if it's kind of pointing up or down, that would be shallow, or that would be steeper. And if it's pointing more to the side, that would be shallow. Like a hill, if it's a steep hill or a shallow hill. All right, so open up this window a little bit. There's little terms too, as I've been drawing, that I don't know if I've come up with, but I've been using kind of in my own head. Like I just said, open that up. That means I meant if here was the windshield, if I would have drawn this line in, that would have closed towards the other side. So that would have been close that up. But I was going, since that one was pointed in, I'm going to open that up by drawing that a little bit more of an angle. Or like, I could do like that. That would be really opening it up. Or like that. But this would be closing it up. Closing the triangle. I don't know. I just noticed that little term I say. Okay. Open that up. And then we're going to go... take this line all the way forward. Yeah, that's starting to look decent. And then this top addition that they just made, I'm going to add in. Though I'm not really sure. It's hard for me to, because there's so much space, it's hard for me to know how big this is supposed to be. So what could I measure it on? Ooh, how about the wheel? If I look at the picture, it looks like the front side of the wheel is almost, it's just before where the red area of the top. So if I take this line here and I use that as a measurement, maybe a little bit to the right, and that's where I'm going to draw my line. So let me erase that, and then I'll do that visually and draw my line. That seemed about right. I'm going to jump to the passenger side window, which I'm also going to use this wheel, the front wheel now. And I know about that angle, looking at the picture, that's where the back of this windshield is, or window. So I'm going to use that angle to measure it for me. And usually I don't draw the line out, though you can if you want to erase a lot. But I think just visually using other things you've already drawn as kind of measuring tools for the rest of your drawing is crucial. If you want to draw things real, at least. Okay. All right, so I got that. And then there's this line. So there's two little windows between about here. So, and those are about the same size. So maybe like these are going to come out a little bit bigger, it looks like, than the actual car, but oh well. All right, and then I'm going to make this triangle on the top come down. And then it's got like a shoop and a shoop and a shoop. And that just comes around like that. I feel like I've made the whole bus a little bit too long. Bus? Is this a bus? I don't know. In any case, I think I made it too long. But that's okay. Drawing the back window now. And this big bay window. Bay window. I don't know where I get these terms. Correct me with my terminology. Okay. Front area. So there's this line, and then here's the top of the dashboard and the wheels somewhere on there. Then there's a like that. These windows are all completely blacked out, so that's what I'm going to do now. Not that direction. Need to get in a little close. Go quick, 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 quick. One down. And this one's going to be blacked out. I'll leave the rear view mirror. And then maybe this area too. Again, I kind of look at the picture, squint my eyes, and I'm like, okay, all those areas that look black when I squint my eyes, because I'm just doing black and white, I'm gonna make those black. Clean up the edges of the black areas. And yeah, I encourage you, everybody, if you look outside and go down the street or just look out your window even, you could probably find a car and just draw it from wherever you're sitting. You don't even have to take a picture. Just look at it. Right now I'm just going to add those little details in for the last couple minutes. So let's see. There's a... the front area, go about there. Yeah, there's definitely a few things I've fudged a little bit on this one, but that's okay. Every time you draw, hopefully, you get a little bit better. Maybe next time I try to draw my neighbor's car, I won't draw it so long. But hey, I actually think this looks pretty cool. Once I take away the reference image, once I turn off the
actual picture, I think it'll look better because then I have nothing to compare it against. So I'm drawing the door lines, the lines of where the door is. 3 doors, and then here's a door opener, and then this is like just a hinge. There's a stronger line on top. All right. Yeah, I've definitely kind of made it much more of an angle. And if I was looking at this on the screen, I probably would have seen that a little bit more, but I wasn't. Let's see if I can fix my mistakes with this fun tool, just for fun. Let's see, warp. So I want to make the front end a little bigger. Something like that. And I want to squish it a little bit. I made the front windshield too small now. And let's see. Or I don't know. Oops. It's almost a little bit better. It's a little bit like wonky now, but I can probably fix that with a few straight lines. Like that. I want this to have more of a look like it's coming up. And so that would need to be steepened down and erased. So I kind of just scrambling to fix a few of my errors. That probably won't all line up exactly, but that's okay. Let's see. I like that. All right, so do some work on the rims. I'm like a pit crew at a race. So, oops. Sometimes I switch to my eraser on this Apple Pencil. A little bit too easy, but that's okay. All right, get this rim over here, which I can see from a different angle, so I see slightly different lines. That's probably good. Yeah, a little reflection. There's little scuff marks I could even draw if I wanted to go crazy. But back rear view light I can see the corner of. What else? I think if I erase a little bit of a line up here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good, huh? I can see here. I'll use red and show you what I think I messed up. I think this line should have been a little bit more opened up from the bottom line. So what I mean is like more like that and not so pointed down. My eye sees it as pointed down, and it is a line that's angled downwards, but it's angled downwards a little bit less of an angle, like maybe that. So can I fix that right now? Doubtful, but let's see. Oops. What if I erased this one? Erase that line. Okay. And then I can do it over with a slightly something like that. Yeah, and this would actually come down here. And that would give me a little bit more room for a windshield, which would be more like that. Yeah. Fix this line all the way up there. Yeah, I think that helps a little bit. did a little bit of a art surgery on there. Oops. Line here. Little art surgery. Cool. Well, I'll call that. I think that's a decent. Let's watch me draw it real quick. Replay. I always like drawing. I like pressing this button. It's fun to watch. And you'll see me warp it. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to draw a little bit of the surroundings. So there's this square of grass here, and then there's another neighbor's square of grass. Just kind of comes off here. The neighbor's house, their neighbor. This is my neighbor, and they have a next door neighbor as well. On the other side, so I'm going to draw that house. Oops. Coming down. This will just give it a little bit of context. Just so you know that it's on a driveway. It's actually a little bit too steep. So you know it's on a driveway and not just sitting there on the ground. Well, everybody, I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll be doing some more drawing videos next week. And I'll be doing some music tomorrow. And looks like, yeah, we got a lot of new, fun, exciting classes coming up soon. So stay tuned for that. And hopefully, if you've watched this after the fact, or if you've watched it live, that you've learned a little bit about drawing today. And go outside and draw a car. Why not? It's fun. A lot of straight lines. All right. Take care.